It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Can't believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Imagine dumping someone just because of their name. Well, we were under the impression that Aspen got dumped because of his name until somebody else called the show. There was some heavy drama in the Playhouse this morning. It's coming up in the podcast. Let's go.
All right. So I wanted to have you call in and talk about a secret that maybe you still have from when you were a teen. And this came up because Liam's going to be driving in like 3.5 years. How wild is that? That just has me secretly on tilt.
As a single child, is he going to get a car for his 16th?
I think the plan is he will inherit Derek's, and then it'll be time for Derek to get a new car. He wants like one of those.
Fair enough. I just hate anybody that buys their kid a brand new car for their 16th birthday.
No, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I want him to just, if you're going to make mistakes, do it in a car that is pretty seasoned. But we're going to, get it all fixed up and everything. But just talking to him about it, I said, back in my day, we didn't have Life 360. I got away with a lot of stuff. And he's like, what? And I said, one night, my parents went to bed and I was 17 and my cousin Bobby would get me alcohol. So I wasn't drinking. I would get it for friends and I would be the hero.
She's still telling the lie, guys.
No, honestly, I barely drank until after I was of legal age. Like I just didn't.
Nerd.
I didn't find myself in those positions. I was working, school, all that stuff. But I would be the hero because I had the older cousin that could get me this stuff. So Bobby texts me and says, you have that party coming up. Can you meet me in the cities and at this address? I had to go downstairs, dial up, go to MapQuest, print out, these are the struggles. And I had to drive down. This was at 10 p.m. on a Thursday. This is a school night. To meet him down in the seedy part of the area where his friend was at. So he wasn't even 21. He just knew somebody. So this was a 3-way transaction.
This is dangerous.
To get 99 bananas. And I just, I'm sure I could tell my mom this now and we'll both laugh about it. But it was like one of those secrets from when I was a teen that I still haven't told her about.
I have one that I've never once told another human being that I'll tell you next. But I want you to share real quick with us. Kat brought up the question of, do you have anything from your teenage years that is still kind of a secret? Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good, you?
Good. What's your name? You want to say?
Ashley.
Ashley,
Yeah,
give me that secret that really nobody knows about from your teenage years.
So only my brother knew about it, but I was pregnant.
You were pregnant. Did you go get a procedure done?
Nope. I was a senior, and it was close to graduation, and I already had planned on moving out. And I went, and he came with me to go give it for adoption. So I already had a family lined up and everything.
You did this all without, did you worry that your parents wouldn't support you, that they would just make you keep the baby?
I think they would have had me keep the baby, which, especially my age now, they definitely would have liked me to keep it, which I wouldn't be where I'm at now without it. And I wanted the baby to have a good life. And
Ashley, do you know what's come of this baby right now? You sound a little bit older, so I'm assuming this kid is in their preteens or teenage years.
Yeah, he is 11 now.
Okay. Do you have contact?
He will be 11. So every now and then the mom will send me a message, just a little update. He doesn't want to meet me, which is okay.
Yeah.
I always tell him it's always up to him and them.
I bet you that's going to change.
If he ever has, if he ever has questions, I'm here to answer them. And so they're just, every now and then, I'm friends with them on Facebook, so I get to see him grow.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
I did see him a lot when he was a baby, but it was hard for me to do that.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
You're okay with this decision now, though? You feel like this was best for everyone?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was one of the most selfless things that you'll ever do in your life. So
And just that your brother was so supportive too.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. And that, that's such an odd place for a young woman to be at. I mean, you're 17 or 18. Like, you have no idea what's going on in the world.
But what a mature decision for you to make, to like see every single aspect of this child's life and know that he'll have a better life without, being with you. But JJ's right. I think once they get a little bit more mature, maybe you might even have to wait until he has his own kids for him to realize, wow, my mom did something really special.
Yeah, at the very least, he's going to want to know health history and family history and stuff like that. So I'm sure you'll eventually, kind of have a better relationship. How about your friends, Ashley? Did they know, or was only your brother the only one that knew that you were pregnant?
My one friend and then the guy knew.
Okay,
But
all right.
or else that was it. And my brother only knew is because he noticed my bump.
Oh.
Or else he probably went to Nutty.
And you worked extra hard to keep that under big hoodies and everything, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but it was summer, so then I didn't go camping. I just said, I'm working because I have my own apartment. I had excuses not to
What a
go.
crazy thing to
That
navigate.
is, and the father of the child was good with this decision too. He wasn't ready.
He wanted nothing. It was a one-night stand.
Oh, jeez.
Lovely for him.
Well, he's actually he's not even alive anymore. So,
Oh, wow.
But it's just, not that that's funny. That sounds bad, but
Oh, it's a nervous laugh. I get it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing with us. This is crazy. I didn't expect these kind of stories, but keep us posted. I'm really let us know when he reaches out, like when he wants a relationship with you.
Does he live near you?
2 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'm really I'm invested in this now. I want to see what this is going to develop into as your life goes on. But thank you for sharing. That's a big step. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have
Bye.
a great morning. That's not nearly as detailed as my story is. When I was probably 10, 11, my dad had this giant whiskey jar that he would put all his spare change in.
Yeah.
And for a hot summer, I didn't have a job. I was just a dumb little kid. But my cousin that I grew up with, we were kind of like brothers. He was the only child, so his parents would give him pretty much anything. Here's $50 a week. You can do whatever. And so I would steal exactly $1.10 in change almost every day out of my dad's whiskey jar so that we could go to the Dairy Queen and I could get a hot fudge sundae. I did that for, the better part of 2 years.
God.
Every time I needed money.
$700.
Every time I needed money, not every day, but it was throughout the summer or anytime I needed money. I'd be in, middle school and I'd want an extra cookie at lunch.
Yeah.
I would go to my dad, my dad would leave way earlier. So I would go in there in the morning. I'd dump the whiskey jar on the floor. I'd sort out all the dimes because the quarters were gone. I'd burned up all the quarters.
Yeah.
So I'm paying for everything for about 2 years in nickels and dimes.
Oh my gosh.
And is there a better fat kid story than stealing from your dad's whiskey jar to get yourself a hot fudge sundae at the Dairy Queen?
God, Deli Bar.
That's exactly it. So if you got something you want to share, maybe you didn't want to be on the air, you can text us, okay?
All right, so I wanted to talk about this girl. Her name is Steph, and she's from Charleston, South Carolina. But she's going viral because she was sitting in the airport, and she and her friend see this note that was placed in front of them. And then as they look up, walking away was someone in a pilot's outfit.
I feel like I needed to make this video because I just went on my phone and I'm trembling. I just went on my phone and everyone's sending me Insider Edition newscaster where they're analyzing my handwriting to see if I was the one who wrote this. I did not write this. It was, I promise, just a nice gentleman.
What was on the note?
On the napkin, it said, "I have seen the world, and you are the most beautiful human in it."
What a line.
Talk about spitting game. I am very impressed. And they say that I talked about this on my show yesterday, old school pickup lines, so out. So hey, are your pants made of mirrors? Because I can see myself in them.
Or if I could rearrange the alphabet, I'd put you and I together.
Yeah, lame. They want, women these days, we don't have time to screw around. Life goes too fast.
So busy.
Walk up and say, I have been looking at you from across the room and I've never seen such beauty. I had to introduce myself before you left.
Now,
just stuff like that.
I'm not exactly a guy who would say I was ever successful with the ladies, but the one line that always worked was, "Your hair is very pretty. It looks like a stylist did it." And most of them go, "Oh my God, I took time to do my hair. Somebody noticed." That's the only one.
Wow.
That would be when my wife leaves me. That'll be my go-to for the rest of my life. If you had one fallback, it would be just compliment her. Your hair is so pretty. It looks like you just got done at the stylist.
The thing is, anything about looks, women are just going to be like, okay, you have my attention. You know, even if you're kind of a nerdy guy and you walk up, but that confidence is so sexy. But that's not why I wanted to talk about this story. The thing is, people are looking at this napkin and the writing and saying, that's not a man's handwriting. That's yours. You did this. And it made me flash back and like to this core memory I had. Do you remember this story when my mom would leave every single morning? She had school, you know, so she had to get there early. And so I would pack my lunch and I would write little notes. And of course, it's a child's handwriting. And I tried to pass it off that it was my mom, where it was like, have a great day, sweetie. I love you. Enjoy your meal. I love you so much. See you after school. And I'm like, oh my God. My friends would call me out. They'd be like, your mom has weird handwriting.
For a teacher.
The Y is backwards, you know? So I just felt bad for this girl because she's like, honestly, he wrote, I've seen the whole world and you're the most beautiful human in it. And they're
That's
like, no, you wrote that.
a great line for a pilot, though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that. Oh, I don't know how it gets better than that.
So one thing about this TikTok trend, airport theory, is that I want more people to do this because I arrive at the airport sometimes 3 hours early. And if people are doing this trend of only arriving, giving yourself 15 minutes from when you park to get to the gate, this is the trend.
You're a dummy.
You're such a dummy. But the best part is, how many seats are going to be open? How many rows are going to be open for all of us to enjoy?
I absolutely could not do it in 15 minutes. Is there a trick to doing it?
We're actually here 3 hours early right now, so we're just waiting.
I would be anxious about it, yeah.
But I'm always up for a challenge. I'm pretty tardy most of the time anyway, so
I don't think I could do it in 15 minutes.
Now, I haven't in 10 years been in a situation where I needed to be there 3 hours early, but I'm like not going to chance it. You know, like you plan out a trip. I'm not going to wait for the next plane. I'm not going to wait for, and if that's full, you're waiting for the next plane. I just don't want to chance that.
Why would you add chaos into traveling? Is already chaotic. Why would you want to do that to yourself? It's so weird.
Airport bars are open at like 3 a.m.
Yes.
Let's go.
Enjoy. Make your way, meander to the gate.
Got a lot going on Thursday morning during our live show at 7:05. More tickets to see Keith Urban at 7:30. Psychic Kim, and at 8:05 you're shot at $50,000. So make it a priority to get up early with us Thursday. In the meantime, let's wrap up the podcast. Anything fun yesterday?
Just a lot of errands. Had a meeting after my show and then had to get gas. There's always like that 40 minutes that I don't have time to go home and then come back to get Liam from school. So I'm like, ugh. So I went to the gas station and I hadn't eaten anything all day. Maybe had I had my grapefruit and then found myself in the back of the Quick Trip parking lot.
Eating by yourself in the back of the parking lot.
Eating a brat from the roller, which was so freaking good. I can't even tell you. It was that at that point, it was $2.50. And I'm like, okay, I got to just do it. And it was the only thing that like appealed to me. So I was sitting, I hope no one took pictures or video or anything. I was that person that would be going viral today. I was
and if
going
anyone
ham on
has
it.
Pictures or video, I'm paying big money for this right now.
Just like Kraut Central, you know, like that's the only condiment I ever put on my brat. And it was just so good. And then I brought Liam home. He did his homework. I did some chores. He had basketball training last night. And then I had an hour to kill there. So I went to TJ Maxx and I'm just really proud of myself. Ever since purging 2 Junes ago, I'm like, I put so much thought into every single purchase. I'm like, I cannot bring anything into my house that I don't need or want.
I had that downtime yesterday. I was scheduled to get an oil change and I was about 30 minutes early. Mm-hmm. And so I just stopped. I go, hey, too early? I go, actually, somebody just canceled in front of you. So I got in and out.
Nice.
And it was just weird. But one thing I didn't know about this. Have you ever seen, like, you know, where your tire, the valve stem, where you put the air in, right? Mm-hmm. It's got those little rubber screw off pieces, right? To kind of keep it. So a friend of mine had given me a 4-pack of those, like, customized Chicago Cubs ones.
Oh, that's fun.
And it just kind of look cool. I mean, you really don't notice it. But I'd put them on. And I get to get my oil changed, and they're going to rotate the tires and everything yesterday. And my friend Jerry, who works there, comes out, and he goes, there's 2 of those we can't get off. And I go, what? I just screwed on, like I hand tightened them. And he goes, because there's metal on the inside and it kind of fuses to the metal on the valve stem. And he's like, so we put some penetrating fluid on it. We're going to try and get these things off. He's like, I hope we don't have to replace the valve stems, but we can if we have to.
Yeah.
And I had never realized that. So he kind of put them in my hand and he goes, look, if there's metal on the insides of these. So like, I know people like to add little things to their cars, but like, be careful because I guess those things like, they fuse, and sometimes you can't get them off.
Yeah.
I would have never thought. I mean, they're just little decorative things for your tires. I would have thought never, ever in the history of the world would those be detrimental to your vehicle's, well-being.
Speaking of air in the tires, the other day, got my car washed, and then it's like, you fill up your air there, and then you can vacuum in that little station. And I just saw, like, girl power. It's not hard to put air in your tire, but this one girl rolls up, and she just looks so confused. She must have somebody that does it for her all the time. And another girl just like gets out of her car and she goes, do you need help with that? And she explained to her PSI. She explained to her, just press this button, it'll tell. And it was just like, I don't know, really nice. Sometimes people will just let you deal with life yourself.
See, this is what happens when you give them a chance to get out of the house.
We learn how to put air in our tire.
You the ability to get jobs and
find places.
And now now you're putting your air in your own. I mean, we're almost as men in this culture really getting run out of the county.
Well, you got to step it up.
What name would be so bad that you would dump a guy? And that's why we kind of found out about this, and I'm glad he could take some time for us. Aspen, you want to tell us exactly how this all went down?
Hi, yeah. So my name is Aspen, and I was dating this girl, Sarah, and I thought everything was going really well. We got along so well. It seemed like physically the chemistry was good, and then she just broke up with me out of nowhere, and she said it's because of my name.
That's the only reason?
Yeah. I was asking her about it, and I was like, Aspen is my name.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a place, like you hear about it all the time. It's
right,
not
Aspen,
that weird.
Colorado. Yep.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I was actually conceived in Boulder.
Oh, okay, weird. Maybe it's where she wanted to conceive you. But anyway, back to the real story is that you were broken up with just because of your name. Are you sure there were no other signs that led to this breakup?
No, there was nothing. Like, I would, drop her off lunch at work every day. Like, I would cook for her. I took her out on dates.
Wow.
I bought her plane tickets when we went on vacation.
Yeah.
And, she just said, Aspen is not a man's name. And when she was thinking of the rest of her life, that's not what she wants to be saying.
Aspen, that makes my heart hurt for you.
Jesus.
I feel like you have so much to give to another partner out there. So just keep on going, I guess. I've never heard anybody break up with someone because of their name.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened before, but it hasn't been as hurtful as this time.
Right, I get it. Okay, I appreciate you calling. I would like to know. I'm going to reserve my thoughts here for a second.
I think that's such a petty reason to get rid of somebody. As a female, there were definitely other things that probably led to it.
I'm a guy who likes women and not men at all. And after pondering this conversation, there for sure is something else.
There has to be.
There for sure is something else. Aspen is a nice name.
Aspen is a feminine name.
Oh, really? You think that's a girl's name versus a guy's name?
It's his name. He did not give it to himself, And so that makes me sad when somebody who can't do something about a reason why gets broken up with. It's completely out of his control.
Core memory just opened up. I was a freshman in college, and as the freshmen came into our ball club, there was a guy who was a senior who was a great ball player, and his first name was Jody. And he said, I remember he brought all the freshmen together.
Yeah.
And he goes, my first name is Jody. The first person to make fun of it gets their ass kicked.
Oh.
The second person to make fun of it gets their ass kicked, and so on and so on. And he goes, if you don't believe me, try me.
Yeah.
And that was our first day of practice.
But is that how you do it? Because I feel like you'll get razzed more if you come in hot that.
No. This guy was a big dude.
Okay.
First baseman, 6'3", 6'4", probably 250, a big dude.
Okay.
You didn't want to mess with this guy. But I just, as you heard that, Do you really think he just got broken up with because of his name? We heard a couple of moments ago from a guy named Aspen, and he had just gotten a hold of us trying to get our thoughts on getting broken up with because of your name. And this is kind of what he had to say.
I was dating this girl, Sarah, and I thought everything was going really well. We got along so well. It seemed like physically the chemistry was good. And then she just broke up with me out of nowhere. And she said it's because of my name.
Now, all sorts of text messages with people judging the hell out of him, including Summer. He sounds like a narcissist.
Well, they said stage 5 clinger. So maybe he love bombed her with the dinner every day, with the coffee every day.
A little too much, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't want to live in a world where someone would just break up with someone because of their name.
A fellow Gusty had texted it and said, Aspen sounds zesty.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how to take that, but we did get a text, and I'm glad you could come on with us real quick, Lainey, because you know Aspen, right?
Yeah. He's a total ass.
Oh.
Like he doesn't even give her the time of day to text her good morning or to say, hey, I've been thinking about you. It's just like, yo, like, where you at? What you doing? Like, come over.
Really? So, okay, this is interesting. We're getting his side. That's what they say. You have this side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. But he was saying she didn't want to be with him because she's shallow and couldn't date someone with the first name Aspen. But that's not the truth.
It has nothing to do with his name. It has to do with the fact that he's a jerk.
So why did your friend say she was breaking up with him then?
He's obsessed with his hair. He's obsessed with his looks. He's narcissistic.
Wow.
Nobody should feel bad for Aspen.
See, there will always be another side. And somewhere in the middle, the truth.
I knew as soon as we got that guy on the radio that there was something wrong with
that.
This
is
guy.
Almost opposite of everything he said. I would think if somebody is bringing coffee or food to them every day,
yeah, but sometimes
being attentive.
Sometimes it's to cover up the pure jackassery you live.
But she was saying that he was like hardly paying attention to her. So,
but we've all known.
I need to hear from her.
We've all known people that are screw ups in a relationship, and then what do they immediately do? I'm sorry, it'll never happen again. Let me shower you with love, attention, and things.
Yes.
And that's the feeling I got immediately from that dude. I'm so glad that she called. See?
You know what I love? I love the people that announce that they just cleared out all their friends.
But you're still on their timeline.
Everyone, and I'm so lucky to be, like they'll always make sure that this one comes from a girl named Hannah, and she's in radio, and she's too much. Like it's a lot every day, minimum of 20 little every like half hour, and
when you think that every one of your thoughts is viable to everyone, you're already too late to save.
Yeah. And it's not my place to tell her. She's a young girl in radio, and I'm all about getting more girls in this industry. We need it, but somebody is not leading her, and she had posted the other day, deleting everyone off my Facebook who isn't cool. So if you're seeing this, winky face. So I must be cool. But
she didn't delete anybody. She's just trying to make everybody feel good.
She said the reason why she was cleaning house was to help the algorithm on her Facebook.
None of us are.
Now she's making money off her Facebook as like an quote influencer.
You're all foolish if you think you can figure out the Facebook algorithm.
I know.
There's like 3 people with keys, and that's it.
So somebody must have slid into her DMs and said, I'm unfollowing you so you can have your friend space. Don't want to be here anyways. So she posted that.
Of course, right?
She's an oversharer, and then she follows it up with, heck yeah, we got one more spot to open, people. And everyone going after this person. But she's not the only one that just like this week particularly, and like late last week, going crazy on their friends list. I don't have time. Do you have that time to sit there and go through
I care.
Thousands of people and like, I don't like you. I don't like you. If you don't like what someone's doing, just hide them. You don't see them anymore.
If I see junk I don't want to see, then I just unfollow. And then it doesn't pop up anymore. I don't care. I'm not going to kick them off my friends list because that sounds like so much work.
It just hit unfollow. It's just one click. No, I mean what she did.
Oh, to clear out a friends list is
Hundreds of
ridiculous.
people. That's wild.
And for us, it's kind of silly because there's a lot of people that listen that are our friends that we don't really personally know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's.
I also don't need to make someone feel that way because, then that's going to open up a can of worms. They might reach out and say, why did you do that? I don't need to make someone feel like that.
I'll give you a quick life tip. You want to clear out your real friends list of people that really weren't your friends?
Mm-hmm.
Move to the middle of nowhere where they might have to drive 20 minutes to see you instead of 10 minutes anymore.
Yeah.
You really realize who your real friends are? I got a whole stack of those. So we moved out to our place in May.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people I haven't seen since we moved.
Yeah.
And I realized, I didn't really need you in my life. Like, it was a common occurrence to see these people, and every once in a while you'd hang out. But I'm like, I feel good now. Like,
it's really far away.
I'm telling you,
I'll come out for like a lake day.
A lot of people think that. They're like, wait, you live 30 minutes away now? And I'm like,
I think it's just all the turns, It's just like going those back roads. So many
but it's
turns.
God's country. It's beautiful.
So many turns while I smell manure. Perfect.
Bingo! How fun!
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo!
Bingo what bingo? Bingo! Bingo!
I've really become such a big fan of this segment because it's not us talking about our lives. We want your story. Like, maybe you're somebody listening who
believes in something that most do not. This woman is, the way she tells this story,
You're hooked?
She doesn't miss a beat, and it's very convincing, I'll be honest. So the story is that a friend that she knows gets out of prison. He's a felon, so he's having a hard time finding work. And so he reaches out to his cousin who works in this fishing village on a charter. And he says, sure, come on board as a crew member. They get on board, and he said, listen, this is not going to be like a normal fishing trip. He's like, what are you talking about? He said, you'll find out. So they get out on the water. And 2 days in, getting fish, whatever, normal fishing boat. Then the captain comes to him and says, you need to sign this. And it's like an NDA. And he goes, you're about to probably see something that you can never repeat to anybody else. Below deck are these big glass cages. Like if you've ever seen that, what is the Tom Hanks movie where she's a mermaid? What is it called? Mermaid?
I think it's called Mermaid.
Okay. So it's these big glass tanks. They bring up in this net a mermaid. They put this siren
Get the
into
hell
those.
out of here.
Then they bring the ship back to the shipyard. They go into this huge warehouse, and she continues the story.
They took this siren to a different warehouse, and it was set up like a restaurant. Come to find out, these clientele, he had sonar machines and everything to track these things down, okay? Like stuff that you would not even believe if you saw it. These people, okay, that had him go and catch this thing, and they say it's like really common among the wealthy, and they all had their knives and forks and everything else. It was set up like a hibachi, sort of. It's one of them things that even presidents don't know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a secret research island.
Kids don't do drugs.
I don't know. I mean, when you hear her telling the story, it's like so convincing. Have you ever seen the movie Menu?
No.
Where the humans are the menu? And,
it's a movie, though.
But it's crazy. And sometimes movies are based off experiences that those writers have had. So anyway, you believe in something that most don't.
I'm looking for anyone listening who has made a significant income. Like, you make your living off your good looks.
Okay.
Or maybe your different look, if you want to phrase it that way. But basically, you're living on the fact that you became pretty good looking. If either of these fit, it's time to call right now, okay? Today we fill in the blank. I've made a lot of poor decisions in my life, but the absolute worst was blank, Kat.
Okay, so I have one, like long-term one, never saving anything between the ages of 15 and 22. That's one of those huge things.
Never doing what?
Saving
any
money at all. I had not a penny to my name when I met Derek. He had $1,000 in his bank account. I'm like, cha-ching, jackpot.
Loaded.
But the one that could have killed me, honestly, was I was 21 and I was driving from Fargo back home, and it was like a 2.5-hour drive. And I see that there was this girl that was on the side of the road, and she was walking, and I knew this stretch of road. I'm like, she has to walk a ways to get to the next exit. Where is she coming from? Where is she going? And I remember driving past her, and I'm like, I shouldn't do this. and then I find a spot to make a U-turn on the interstate.
Nice.
Made a U-turn, went back, picked her up.
But it's a girl. She's not going to kill you.
But so is Charlize Theron in Monster. Like, she killed all of those people.
But what are the odds? And that's a movie. I don't think
it was based on a true story.
I don't think girl hitchhikers really like mess people up.
I would say those are the only ones that would, you know. And so I picked her up, and by the grace of God, got her to the gas station at the next exit up, which was 17 miles, by the way.
Jeez.
And then dropped her off, and she was like, "Thank you," and that was it. And I'm like, I got back on the interstate, and I'm like, that was the best case scenario, because she could have taken a switchblade out, cut my throat. I would have been done. So never did that again.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Mine's a little deeper. Like my biggest fear is, so I've made a lot of bad decisions, but my worst was not knowing my parents more as adults.
Yeah.
I got out of high school. I went away to college, and all I could do was get out of my little small town and look for something bigger. And then I moved a long ways away, and I'd get to see him on holidays or kids' birthdays or the birth of our next child. And I'd call him every week, but it would be kind of the same old thing. But like, I didn't get to know my parents as adults very well. And now that my oldest son is like a young adult, like I'm really getting to know him in his life, and I'm grateful that he's close. So that's probably my biggest regret in life.
You know what they say is, if you only see your parents for holidays and they're in their late 60s, early 70s, you might only see them like 10 more times, you know, and that's really sad to think about.
And at that point when I was kind of growing up and getting my career started and getting married and having kids, the technology of like FaceTime wasn't really a thing. Like, you're pretty blessed right now. If you move a long ways away from your family, you can really still see them.
Yeah.
A lot if you want to plan out that time. So that's what I wanted you to do this morning, is fill in the blank. I've made a lot of bad decisions, but the worst was what, Brad?
When I married my second wife.
Fool me once? What is it? Fool me once?
Can't get fooled again.
You've made a lot of bad decisions, Jenna, but the worst was what?
Smoking cigarette.
Oh, did you end up being like a pack-a-day girl?
No, I've never been that bad.
No, that's me.
Wait, who the hell is this?
Her husband.
Nice. You guys got to curb that real quick. Hi, Shauna. The worst decision. You made a lot of bad ones, but the worst decision was what?
Got married.
Just once, huh? It's not going to take for you a second time.
Oh, heck no. I'm never, ever doing it ever again.
So walking down the aisle, did you feel like this was a mistake, or was this something that you learned after the day that you said I do?
We didn't even go down the aisle. We went and got married at the courthouse.
Okay. And why was it shotgun? You were pregnant?
I was pregnant, and his family was a very church-type family, and they were tired of him coming and going. And they're like, either marry this girl or leave her alone. So my dumb decision was like, oh, perfect, let's just go get married.
Yeah.
And then a year or two later down the road, he went trucking over the road and realized, like, oh, he's cheating on me every time he comes back home. Okay, we're done.
Was it the lot lizards?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
oh my God.
He was into the truck stop hookers. Oh, my God.
I've always wanted to just see how that interaction starts. Just, is it a rat-a-tat-tat on the window, or do you meet them inside the gas station?
I think they go up to the trucks. I think they go from truck to truck.
Wow. What a life.
And there's a lot of truck stop restaurants, and he would flirt with the waitresses.
But I mean, before you got married, he was coming and going. Like, he was living that fast life, and still, you know, sometimes we, because we are pregnant or whatever, ignore all of those signs. And
oh, yes. I ignored every red flag he had.
And now that this has all happened, you're off married. You will never get married again, no matter what, huh? Your trust is that mast, huh?
I will never go down that road ever again.
All right. I mean, do you got somebody special in your life right now, or are you just off relationships?
I am not seeing anybody.
All right. Well, you know what? It'll happen.
Look at how happy she sounds, not seeing anyone.
I know. And I've had this conversation with my husband before where I'm like, if, you know, anything were to happen, I would just like enjoy myself for the rest of my life.
I got to have somebody around.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm pretty needy. Thanks, Shauna. I hope you have a great morning. Good luck. When you were a single girl, and you've said from the age 13 till now, you were single for about 4 days, but you're single, you're dating. What's the biggest pet peeve about a guy?
Biggest pet peeve, maybe just noticing that they're rude to other people.
Oh, that's a good one.
Manners are a huge deal. Derek and I, if I had to say one thing, if you're getting married soon, just always keep the manners. Just always say please and thank you. Make sure the other person feels appreciated.
That's a big one. But, we've talked about this before, and we've never really talked about a guy's angle. Like, what's a big pet peeve about the lady he's dating?
If I had to be nitpicky, which I'm old enough now to know that not everybody is perfect. If you're dating in your early 20s, you're looking for perfection. It's not going to happen. But if someone eats like this with their spoon.
Oh, where they
like a caveman?
Yeah, well, like a primate.
I don't want to call her out, but my cousin Anna does this.
No, I don't want to call her
And
out.
She has always eaten with her thumb right next to where the spoon is, and then she'll eat it like that.
Is that a military thing?
Drives me crazy.
Was she in military school where they had
not
to
at
go all just right angles?
It drives me just wild. Because that's all I can focus on.
There is one thing above anything else that is the biggest pet peeve for a guy when he's dating a lady.
Is it us not eating?
Oh, just like bird eating or saying I'm not hungry.
Like, I'll just have a crouton.
No, the things that are making the list, and we only had one person. Angela, good morning. She was the only person that got it right, that texted in. Too much makeup is on the list. Too many questions. Being late. Overpowering perfume, all on the list, but not number one. Over half of the guys said their number one pet peeve about a lady being on her phone.
Oh, yeah.
During the date, which makes sense, right? Like, I get it. Oh, my gosh, work is calling. It's an emergency. I have to go into surgery. Like, I get that. But if you're scrolling through socials or, hey, let's post this real quick. It's you and I. You know what I mean? That's an instant turnoff. Almost half of the guys surveyed said they will not get a second date, even if they're attracted to you, if you're on your phone too much.
Just know it's going to go the same way from us. Like, if you are
for sure
getting to know somebody and truly want to be there, even if you don't, and straight out the gate, you're like, this person's probably not for me. Just know that it's like common courtesy and there's another human across the table. Can you imagine being made to feel like you're not even worth speaking to at that moment? Rude.